Leanne King with Gypsy Soul Artistry, and I'm going to show you our Mistletoe collection. I'm going in with the eyeshadow brush and the shade called Pup, and I'm just putting this all over my lid, up into my crease, and slightly above my crease so that you can still see that color when my eye is open. And then with the smaller end of the blur brush, I'm going to dip into this really rich shade called Revival, and I'm going to put Revival kind of in the outer half right along my lower lash line, and then in this V type shape in my outer eye through my crease, and I'm going to be blending it slightly above my crease again so that you can still see that color when my eye is open. And I just keep tapping back in and building this shade up until it's the depth and richness that I want, and just softly blending it up. And I'm also going to sweep this Revival shade right under my lower lash line as well. And then I flip this blur brush over to the fluffier side, and I'm just going to softly blend so this isn't a harsh line. And I do blend it up a bit so that again, when my eye is open, you can still see that color. And I softly blend along the lower lash line as well. If you would like to soften that line up a bit more, just take that fluffy end, dip it right back into that first color Pup, and sweep that right along the outer edge of that darker color. Next, I'm going to wet the angled end of the line brush just with water so that I can dip into this dark shade called Coal, and I can use this eyeshadow shade as an eyeliner now. I do like using this angled end of the line brush because it's really nice and precise, and I can get this eyeliner shade right close to that lash line, and I do kind of stamp it on rather than drag that brush across. Stamping it on like this gives you a more consistent, darker line all the way across instead of having that color fade. I also am going to line my lower lash line using that same technique, and I only go about halfway, maybe a little less than half, and then I'm going to bring it up kind of like a baby wing, just following that lower lash line and extending it up towards my brow. Using the smallest end of the bright brush now, I dipped back into Coal, and I'm just going to kind of darken this baby wing and just kind of smudge out the other lines that I've created so they're not like a really harsh line. The fourth eyeshadow shade in here is called Bird, and Bird is a good one to use in your brows, so I'm just going to use this same line brush and just use it as a brow shade. And I did start farther back, kind of towards my arch. I find it looks a little more natural if your eyebrow shade is the darkest at your arch and it fades a little bit towards the inner corner and a little bit towards the tail. And then I just flip that line brush over to the spoolie end and just comb them out. Last step, of course, mascara. A tip for any cleanup you may need to do, grab that multitasker brush, dip it into your brightening shade, and then just tap that brightening shade right along this outer edge where you feel like maybe you've pulled that color down a little bit too far, and then just softly blend it with your finger. You can also use the smaller end of the multitasker brush and do the exact same thing and just clean up right under this brow bone just to give some extra lift to that brow area, and any cleanup where you've maybe brought the color up a little bit too high. Same thing in this inner corner. Just tap a bit of that brightening shade on anywhere and fix any of your little mistakes. For the blush, I'm going to use the shape brush, and I'm going to do an ombre look, putting Summer Love kind of in this lower part of my cheekbone, and then Black Cherry on the upper part up towards my hairline. And then I just softly blend the two together. I do like this ombre look to have a little bit of a lighter cheek color towards my apples and the darker color up towards my hairline. I flipped the brush over to the smaller side of the shape brush, and I dipped it back into that brightening highlight just to do a little bit of cleanup where I've maybe brought that color a bit too high and to soften that line. Now for the lips, I'm going to use the small end of the multitasker brush and dip back into that deep shade Revival, and I'm actually using this eyeshadow to line my lips. Revival is such a beautiful, deep, rich burgundy plum kind of a shade, and it works so nice to line your lips. And then I just softly blend it with my finger. I flipped this multitasker brush over to the other side, and you have the perfect lip brush. And I'm going to go in with Black Cherry first, and I'm going to put Black Cherry over my entire lip and just kind of keep building that color until it's the depth that I would like. Black Cherry is a gloss, so you can do it soft and glossy, or you can build it up into this really rich plum shade, whatever your personal preference is, and you can see how it works so nicely with that Revival eyeshadow as the liner and Black Cherry as the fill color. They work so well together. Saint has done a phenomenal job putting this collection together. So this is Black Cherry on its own, which is absolutely beautiful, but I'm going to dip into Summer Love, and I'm going to put Summer Love in kind of my mid-lip area. It just adds a little bit more brightness to the center of your lip for a little extra pop and pout. And these two colors just work so beautifully together. Another little tip is to go back into your brightening shade and pop it right in this center of your lip as well, just to really pop that pout a little bit extra. And here's the final look of the Mistletoe Collection. You can find this under the Recreate the Look tab. There are 4 bundled collections for winter right now, but they are only available at the savings until December 31st. 4 of the brushes I used for this demo, the Bright, the Blur, the Wash, and the Shape, are also available at 25% off right now, but only while supplies last. This collection features 4 matte eyeshadow shades, but if you would like a little bit of pop and sparkle, I went in and added Venus eyeshadow and Glamazing Illuminator just to add a little bit more shimmer and shine to this look. So if that's something that's more your taste, be sure to pop in a shimmer along with this collection.